وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Low energy again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah, that's much better. Just before we move to some of the leftover questions we had from yesterday, I just would like to remind myself and yourself that there is always this mid-Ramadan dip. So I'm warning you now, and myself, don't allow us to go into the mid-Ramadan blues. The reason why we go in mid-Ramadan dip is because we become too enthusiastic at the beginning and get burnt out. And I did mention today in the Jumu'ah, for those of you who were there, that we need to pace ourselves. Let us prove this year, inshallah, in our community, when the mid-Ramadan comes, like between the 12th to the 15th to the 18th of Ramadan, we still have this crowd. And the only way we could have that crowd is if we pace ourselves. Because normally what happens, we have a big crowd at the beginning, then we have a mid-Ramadan dip, and then the last 10 days is a big rush again. So don't allow that. We mentioned that the Sahaba, they never used to look for 10, 10, 10. What they used to look for?
10 and
20, 10. Not 10, 10, 10. 20, 10. What is my objective in the first 20? And what is my objective and goal in the last 10? Don't worry about this 10, 10, 10. Alright? The 10, 10, 10 does not really fit within the Sunnah according, because the whole month is considered to be mercy, forgiveness, and emancipation from the knowledge of Allah. So let us prove to ourselves and to our community that we are not going to go into this dip. Alright, right now I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sufuf. At the mid-Ramadan we should have that and more, and then at the end we should have more because of the 10 nights. Alright? So some of the leftovers question was one, am I allowed to taste food? Am I allowed to taste food when I'm fasting? I wish I supposed to get some chocolate here, but I don't have it to give you if you have the correct answer. Are you allowed to taste food? Like if you, how many men cook here? Let me see your hands. Okay. I'm not going to ask the other part if you have a grouchy spouse. Right? And sometimes the sisters could have grouchy husband too. It's allowed for them to taste. You can taste your food without swallowing. Okay? But according to Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimullah, he says it is makruh. That if you can avoid tasting, it is good, but if you taste, it does not break your fast. Alright? You can taste your food. If, like for example, if you're a professional chef, right? Every chef or a professional taster, they have to taste the food before you go to the client. So they taste the salt or the spice, but you can taste that without swallowing. So generally it is allowed. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal allows that, except Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah who says that it is makruh. If you could avoid it, you should avoid it as much as possible. If the sisters are cooking, and if you have a grouchy husband, you know, and you get upset if there is no salt, you can taste the food, but don't taste the food and swallow. Taste just for the tasting of the food to know if it is have the right palatable condition. The other question is, taking a meal before fasting is necessary? For you to take suhoor, is it necessary? Should you, is it necessary for you to take food for suhoor? Yes?
No, it's not, but you should do it.
It's not. Because we did mention that if you wake up and time pass, you are allowed to keep your fast, which means you're not taking suhoor. It's recommended, it is mustahab for you to take the morning meal. Okay? And the Prophet says that distinguish us between us and the people of the book, the Ahl al-Kitab. Because the Ahl al-Kitab, they started the fast in the midnight, and so they skip suhoor. Alright, so you are allowed to do that. But it is mustahab, it is highly recommended. It is a sunnah. Here I have my chocolate. So you will get some chocolate. It is sunnah, actually, for you to have your suhoor. And we say that if the angels send salawat to the people who take your suhoor. Does an injection invalidate one's fast?
It depends. Depends. If it's for medical purposes, then it does not.
What is it?
If it's for medical purposes, it does not break your fast. But if it's like for avoiding hunger and stuff.
Very good. Take that. It's allowed as long as it is not nutritional injection. You're not injecting yourself with injection with nutrition to keep you from hunger. It's completely allowed. Does taking out blood or blood test invalidate one's fast? Doing a blood test. These are common things that we reach up every day. Doing a blood test and to extract blood, does it invalidate one's fast? Yes? No. For husbands, keep that young man at the back there. It does not. Right? It does not. You can take your blood. That's the wrong person, brother. That's the brother there. Yeah. Okay, so it does not invalidate your fast. Can you give blood while you're fasting? Can you give blood to a person who in need of it while you're fasting? Yes, young man? No answer? I want the young brothers, yes. Can't hear you. Yes. You can give blood, but it should be a case of necessity, right? It should be a case of a person that really in need of blood, but you should not just give blood to go to the bank and sit there. If somebody needs it now, you can do that, but you should not really give it in that case. Does vomiting invalidate your fast?
No, not at all.
Those who have a chocolate already know, yes. Huh? Have this. If you vomit, it does not break your fast if you vomit unintentionally. Let's say if during the day you feel nauseous and you bring out a mouthful of vomit, it does not invalidate, except if you take your finger and induce vomiting. If you induce vomiting, it nullifies your fast. And this is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, reported by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh, that a person who induced vomiting, the fast is batil. You would have to make up for that fast. Okay? All right. Next question. What is the difference between qada and kafara? Kafara is, okay, anybody, what is the difference between qada, making up for a fast, and kafara? Sorry, sisters, I can, have you, but if you have, you could raise your hands. Anybody, what is the difference?
If you're sick, you can make up.
Huh?
If you're sick, you can make up.
If you're sick, you make up, that's qada, and kafara?
Kafara, like if you're not able to do it, you can let someone do it.
No, sorry. What's kafara? Kafara is when you break your fast intentionally. What is the penalty if you break your fast intentionally? Just on Farhan. What is the penalty if you break your fast intentionally? Yes, young man. This young man here. Can't hear you, loud. Free a slave?
It's one of them. It's one of them, though.
Halfway, give him this. Yes? Huh? You are like 1/3 there. Looking for a more specific answer. What is the penalty if you... Yes, young man? Huh? Feed how many?
Fasting 3 days.
No.
He said feed 60 people.
60.
That's second category. That's allowed, but that's the second category. What is the first category if You break a fast intentionally. Just give it to him. Yes.
60 days fast.
60 days fast consecutively. You have to fast 2 months without breaking it. Okay? And secondly, you can feed 60 people. But generally, scholars have agreed that if you have the ability to fast, you must fast 60 consecutive days. So you do not break a fast, intentionally. Right? If you know that something going to break your fast and you know and you're doing it intentionally, that's the penalty for it. Okay? 60 days of consecutive fast. If you cannot do that due to health reason and other stuff that you cannot make it, then you could feed 60 people. But that's not the first option. The first option is to fast 60 consecutive days. And that's a long haul, right? Those are some of the questions we have, inshallah. Those are some practical stuff we can reach up every day. There might be other questions, inshallah, but these are some of the things that we have to bear in mind. And also, what weakens your fast? Anybody, what weakens your fast? It does not invalidate your fast, but it weakens your fast. What weakens your fast? Yes?
Sin.
Huh?
When you sin.
When you sin? That's a very generic question, but I give you a chocolate. Yes?
Sleeping.
Huh? Sleeping?
No.
No, man, you could sleep. But fasting, you cannot sleep all day, right? You cannot sleep because you say, okay, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep through my hunger. You're defeating the purpose of fasting. Fasting does not mean that you should, pack up things and go to sleep and you wake up for iftar. You should have a normal activities, normal day of activities, normal day of work. Okay? What weakens your fast? Many things. Farhan?
If you eat too much in suhoor and eat too much in iftar.
If you eat too much suhoor. Alright. Things that weakens your fast: if you cannot control your eyes, you backbite, you gossip, you become angry. That is why the Prophet ﷺ says that if somebody argues with you, say, Ana Saheb, I am fasting, you don't get angry. All of these things. So you don't do anything that weakens the fast. You try to ensure that you have the blessings of the fast, inshallah. So we'll stop here, inshallah. If there's any more question, we will shoot that later on, but this is for now. And these are some practical things that we may reach up on a daily basis. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.